Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to One Hub Racing here for round number 8 of the P1 Championship as we take in the fantastic Portuguese Grand Prix. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action, and of course, alongside me, as always, is the one, is the only, is Jess. Jess, how you doing?
Apart from my voice not being as normal, I'm doing great. Portugal is always a great circuit around One Hub Racing. It's producing great races in the past. And we already have a really close championship up the top, so I think we should be in for some exciting action.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, 33 laps await the drivers, 4.6 kilometers, 2.8, almost 2.9 miles in length. 15 corners, 2 DRS straights, 1 down in towards turn number 1 and 1 in towards turn number 5. Of course, the C1 hard tyres, C2 mediums and C3 soft compound tyres are available for the dry selection. And of course, the intermediates and the wet tyres are there for the changeable conditions. And honestly, previous races at this kind of circuit now has always been interesting because the elevation changes, especially in that middle sector, can really throw a car off course if you do not have the correct setup going into that race, Jess.
Yeah, we've seen, of course, in the P2 tier earlier how difficult it is to get the right setup. Some people might be like running lower wings. I know some people running wings as high as 40 at times to get the car more stable. But we know with some drivers in this tier, they want some straight line speed going into the start finish straight. But they really got to be careful in towards Lagos and in turn 3, in turn 4. Torre Vic could be quite tricky as well, but a lot of people will find it tricky towards turn 7 and 8, Samson corner. We see a lot of people in many races in the past doing One Hub Racing spin through those corners.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, heading into tonight's race now, we did manage to get one of the drivers in the press conference, I believe. And I'm just going to quickly double check if that is hopefully for this week or not next week.
Our newest driver. So yeah, yeah. Sorry, carry on, Mike. You're leading tonight.
I was in the drivers press conference, and I was looking to see if we got anyone in for the press conference here tonight.
I think we have. I think they just put it in the wrong section. They put in the pre-race interviews. But whilst Mike and myself try and find that, because it's probably that. There we go. I will send it to you, Mr. Edwards. Unfortunately, Lucky, due to personal reasons, has decided to withdraw from the league until his personal issues sort out. And on behalf of the league, we hope the situation improves in the future. Obviously, I'm not going to say what it is because it's a bit rude to say what it is. But we got someone more than capable joining the league in his place. He's been in many other leagues before, so we know he's quite quick, especially around here. Actually, he's in the Alpine, and our newest driver today, who has also been called into the drivers' press conference, is the one and only Ben Spurs, also known as Ben Harriet for you and me. He's a quick driver, and he's raced with many other drivers in this tier before. So welcome to the league, my good friend. And what was he asked in the press conference, Mike?
Well, I mean, the first question that was put to him, obviously coming into the season at this stage, and we asked him what his targets were going to be for the remaining races, and he said, firstly, can't thank you enough for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to getting started. Obviously, when you arrive so late into a season, it's never going to be easy to have a target as such. So really, I've decided it's all about enjoying myself and taking part in some enjoyable racing with the rest of the grid. It will be a completely different challenge for me. So it'll be interesting to see how I get on. So he's not coming in with any expectations, being brand new to the league for this season. But he's just gonna see how he gets on from the looks of things. And honestly, I think that's the right mentality to come in. Obviously, coming in so late tonight, you're not going to be setting the world alight in terms of winning championships and everything. But maybe a couple of podiums could be in his future. You never know. Maybe even a race win. There's still plenty of rounds left for him to do that. The second question that we put to him was, have you had a chance to check out the competition? And he responded saying, lucky enough, I know most of the drivers from racing with them previously, so I know there's very high standard in the tier. I've been watching the last few races and I've noticed some very close racing with multiple drivers, so I'm looking forward to getting involved and hopefully picking up some solid points for the team. So he's done some scouting, Jess. He's done some scouting.
Yeah, he has. So he's been watching the league before deciding, right, this was going to be the place to be, and that's always a good thing when you join the league. And sometimes when you join a league midway through the season, you're not expected to hit the ground running from day one, which is fair enough, and you can have a little bit more fun. And I liked his attitude, and I think the main advantage that a lot of our new drivers have had this season is a lot of our new drivers, apart from I think one or two, have raced these drivers before, so they know what their racing style is and how they can approach each other on the track. And I think that's going to be good. We saw with like Arnold, who joined midway through the season, even though he wasn't new, but he's been in the league before. He managed to get a win in his first race, but I don't think we'll be expecting that from Ben because of the high caliber drivers on the grid. But you never know, anything can happen. We could have some safety cars, even though we only had one virtual safety car in P2. So, anything can happen in this league, and let's see how well he could do around this track. It's a difficult track to make his debut, but he has raced here before, so he should settle in quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a nice challenge immediately coming into this tier. And we're going to see how we get on. 16 drivers here tonight. Jess, I believe we'll probably be getting another 2 more coming through midway through qualifying. Honestly, in terms of heading out to the action right now in qualifying, it's going to be very interesting to see who is going to come out on top and be top in the timesheets. My personal opinion, my eyes are already drawn to the likes of Arnold, to the likes of Tony, and I'm very interested to see how Ben's going to stack up against these guys. But one person I want to highlight, someone who's had very good form as of late, is Casper, and I'm interested to see if he can continue that good form.
Casper, I think both the Hasses I'm keeping my eye on this week because they were looking so good in the practice and they worked so well together as a team, topping the constructors too. And Casper just 1 point behind Axelot. Casper is third in the standings currently. He won last week as well, so you're right saying that he's one of the drivers to watch out for. His second win in the top tier, and he likes these tracks which are higher downforce because, Spain, last week we went to Spain, higher downforce track. He won in Singapore, high downforce track. Portugal, you guessed it, is a high downforce track. Not as high downforce as some other tracks on the calendar, but you need a lot of wings on your car. So I would expect a lot going into this race from both our Haas drivers. And as there's a lot of other drivers as well. Atsock as well, looking quite good. I could see why Arnold could do quite well around this track too, but let's watch Casper, Mike, as I'll let you take through a lap around the Algarve International Circuit.
Yeah, so coming down the start-finish straight, DRS wide open, over 200 miles an hour as we come through in towards turn number 1. Very important to not drift out too wide on the entry towards turn number 2, but breaking down into turn number 3, we've seen a few lunges there in the past, and maybe we'll be seeing a few again tonight. Big rear end snap there for Casper through turn 4, but DRS wide open now in towards turn number 5. Front left lock up there on the Haas, but good traction on the exits. We go through turn number 6 in towards the right-hander of turn number 7. Gotta get your line right here through the uphill of turn number 8. The elevation changes can really throw you off course, and Casper is navigating that very well. Through turn number 9 we go in towards turn number 10. Late apex there for Casper through 10, now through 11. A little bit of traffic getting out of the way in towards turn number 12. Third gear, the gear of choice there for Casper, and in towards turn number 14. A very unusual corner. Obviously, downhill, the car just wants to drift out wide through that corner, and obviously, you've got to make sure you tuck it back in for the final corner. Turn number 15 to the line will come Casper now, and he will do a 1:16.7 to get proceedings underway here in qualifying.
That was a decent lap from the Haas driver. We got Cashman, who slots himself into P3, and Lukey not that far behind in P2. We got one of the Ferraris who's looking quite good in the middle sector. No, it wasn't Konzo, it was Samster in P5. Let's watch Tony. No, Tony's gone into the pit, so he must have invalidated his run. So I think we're just waiting for a few other guys to come out. Yes, we are. J. Cole coming up to the line now, who's been looking good in the 5th place territory. Well, he's not 5th for now, he's in 6th, and we expect a lot of banker times for the time being. We got our newest driver, Ben Howard, in the Alpine, coming towards the final corner, using a bit of overtake. He's got a bit of overtake to use as well. Slots himself into P5, quite close between, I would say, 2nd all the way down into 5th, and Mike.
Yeah, incredibly close. That's I believe that was that Craggy then that just popped up in the P2.
Yeah,
I think
Craggy.
It might have been. Yeah, Craggy popping up in the P2 here, obviously making it even closer. Now obviously P2 down to P6, separated by just over a 1/10 of a second, Jess. And obviously, the first rounds, we've seen a few invalidations come early on, as we got the likes of Arnold and Konzo now coming to the line as well. Konzo's going to be the first one to the line, and it's not a competitive lap time from Konzo as of yet, but it's always better to get something on the board early on, I think, as Arnold goes up in the P3 there. Good lap time from him.
Yeah, P3 from Arnold. You did know to watch out for this guy, and you're right, so you must be getting your predictions right. But let's hope you don't do as many curses as what we saw Johannes do in P2 earlier.
Yeah, that's not. We are reformed now. We do not commentate or curse anyone anymore.
Yes, we don't. Saying that, we might do that later, but there we go.
Yeah, potentially. Malvin, though, unfortunately for him, invalidated on his run. So I think out of all the ones out on track, either they've just finished their laps or they are on an invalid run. We got a couple of people out there on outlaps right now. Of course, one about to start his lap is going to be Speed Tony. So it's going to be interesting to see what Tony can do. On his first run, I think he might have invalidated, which is why he came immediately into the pit lane. And it's going to be interesting. His teammate was just coming out of the pits, and one thing I was going to say, Jess, obviously, slipstream, so important around here, especially down the start-finish straight. Do you think we'll see any teamwork from any of the drivers?
It's going to be quite tough, but I think if I were the I would try and... It's every man for themselves, so I don't think they're going to give the toe just yet, maybe in their final runs, potentially. But we know some drivers like to be in a party with each other. We know the Aston Martins could work together, but there's certain drivers that were brought into their team lineup last minute, like recently, like mid-driver sign-ups or whatever. So they may not work as well together as we would have hoped and give that toe. But I think if I were any bet lady, I would probably be either Aston Martin, McLaren or Haas, because I know those three pairings are very well established in this league already. But you can see Tony is already catching up to the Mercedes of Malvin. We could tell, obviously, there's only one Mercedes tonight because Nick, lucky sod, he's in Malta celebrating his friend's stag do. Tony comes across the line and it's going to be fast with a 1:16.2. Oh. What a quick lap time from him. But first of all, Nick, how could you? And second, where's our invite?
Emmett, like, I'm just saying, like, yo, we like a good start, right?
Yeah. It is his friend, so I don't think they would appreciate us that much. But there we go. Hope you have a good time, Nick.
Yeah, we hope you have a fantastic time out there, Nick, and don't get too drunk out there. Don't get too drunk. On board with Entity as Entity's coming through the final corner on a set in the medium compound tyres, I might add, Jess, and this is interesting. There was a few drivers that did do their first runs on a set in the mediums. Do you think this is more to do with just trying to get customized to the circuit, or do you think this is just strategy for them to save a fresh set of softs for the. Well, I mean, save as many soft runs as possible, but I mean. So now, obviously, there's going to be the lobby restart. I would have thought they would have gone straight for soft tyres, but Entity having on set of mediums. Do you think this is just due to lack of practice?
It could be, because when I was practicing earlier, I just wanted to start on mediums to get a feel for it. But we know that they have the option in the first lobby to choose what tyre allocation they want to, and they can go softer. They can even get 3 runs in perfectly fine. So I think Entity's just trying to feel accustomed to the track, because I'm still shocked that he wouldn't have gone for the softs, but maybe he doesn't want to use too much softs early on. But there are plenty of opportunities to get it right. So Entity just wants to get a banker lap in. And sometimes, Mike, it's just about having that delta, because you want to have the confidence saying, oh, I'm going up, because if you're starting on the softs, for example, in qualifying, and you don't improve that much, you're not going to be as happy if you're still down on your delta. You might be over pushing it too much. So Entity just wants to possibly have that benchmark potential. There's so many options why on Entity has chosen the means, but maybe it might just be about having that delta to work on.
Yeah, potentially. Of course, we are starting to see some improved times coming in. Jess, obviously Casper improving to a 16.2 and less than half a tenth off his teammate. These assets just can't stay away from each other. They are always doing so well together in qualifying. Luki improving his time to a 16.5, 16.6 for Cashman improving. I just seen Waitsy cross the line not too long ago, going up into P5 with a 16.7. J. Cole just ran a little bit wide through turn 2, but I think he has just come to the end of his lap as well. Craggy looks like he's about to get his lap underway in just a moment, and Arnold is out there on the run right now, and he's a 10th up in the first sector, coming through now towards the middle sector split.
That looks very good towards turn 8 and 9 for Arnold, the Red Bull drivers. So I think this could be very tidy, but he's got to nail that final sector. He's getting about a 10th in that middle sector alone. So as he goes towards the roller coaster corner, as Lando Norris likes to call it. And it's a shame that it's not in the F1 calendar anymore, because it's a really nice circuit in league racing. But Arnold goes up to the line. Now what's it going to be for the Red Bull driver? It's going to be a 1:16.7. So he found, I think, a few hundredths per second there in that final sector. Not that far off the likes of Cashman and Lukey. I think those four, I would say, would fight a lot with each other. Same with Jake as he goes into the pits. And I think it's just Malvin about to finish off his lap as he heads towards the final sector.
Yeah, as Konzo improved on his lap time, he goes up in the P13. We got Catboy Key out there on track as well, but the man coming to the end of his lap is Malvin. He had to get a time on the board, so this is important for him, because he'll be under severe pressure if he does not get a lap time on the board. But Malvin to the line is going to be a 17 flat from the Mercedes. He's up in P9. It's not a horrible place to start now for Malvin. And we're now going to see who else is going to be improving. But we're getting to the stage of qualifying now, where if you do have an extra set of softs, you're going to be out there on track right now. We're seeing a few drivers out there on the out laps right now. I believe Tony might actually be on a fast lap in behind Catboy Key as well. So we'll see what the Williams man does first and switch up towards
this is looking
the man on provisional pole.
It's looking very quick from Tony right now. The way he approached that final sector was just second to none. And I think he's looking to get in the 1:15s here. Maybe not this lap, but you never know. Ow, I spoke too soon. He is the first man into the 1:15s at the moment, 1:59. I don't think I could even reach that. That is absolutely crazy for him, but all it counts is the race. Points are not scored in qualifying, but he's got his qualifying off to a really great start. It's going to be hard for the likes of Casper and Lukey to match that.
Yeah, I don't even think I could get in the 15s with corner cutting turned off. Never mind with corner cutting on strict and everything, but Tony doing fantastically up there in provisional pole right now. Lukey's just getting his lap underway, heading down in towards turn number 1. Of course, the man currently in P3. In terms of the grid right now, but P4 in the Drivers' Championship, and very close battle for P2, but a big rear end slap there for Lukey as he came through turn number 4.
Yeah, a little bit untidy through 4, now heading past into Torre Vip now. He looks a bit more comfortable there. There's more yellow flags going around the circuit, but it's just people moving out of the way. I believe Cashman's about to finish his lap, heading towards the final few corners. I think Casper is just about to finish as well. So keep an eye on those two. First of all, it will be... Oh, no, both of them are going into the pits. Never mind. So I thought they were going to finish a lap, but no, they were both going to dive into the pits. I think that's what a few other drivers are going to be doing. As Ben slots himself into P10, and Axelot has just finished his lap, stays in P8.
Yeah, stays in P8. Lukey was marginally down in the middle sector. I've been staying on board with him, but yeah, he's going to dive into the pits. I think he just wasn't going to improve enough. Enough there was Lukey, so into the pits he'll go. Right now, obviously, on a fast lap, I believe we got Samster who's immediately diving it into the pits. So now, Jess, is what I like to call the calm before the storm now, where everyone is getting themselves psyched up for one last run here in qualifying.
You have my saying. That's what I like to say as well. You got it from the best people. It is a good saying because they've got to pretty much forget what they just done if they've done something wrong and focus on the here and now. They want to get the best lap possible, and one positive is they'll have a delta to work on. But the ones that are close enough to pole position, they're going to think, right, which sectors am I the weakest at, and they need to work on that. They're probably looking at their competition, seeing what they've done right, what they've done wrong, and how much time they can gain. Because some people may think, oh, I lost time in the middle set compared to my competitor. That's what I need to work on. As Malvin has found an interesting way to cut the corner through Portugal. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but he's done that anyway to get into the pitch just in time, hopefully.
Well, we got the first run of the final runners about to get underway as Karagi gets his lap underway. He is currently in P10 on a 16.9 as he comes down in towards turn number 1, hitting the inside curb there. And that inside curb, obviously, in qualifying, you can just about get away with it. In the race, though, you really want to stay away from really smashing that inside curb because that curb can chew you up and spit you out. But Karagi doing very well so far in the first sector, a 10th up as we come down to turn number 5 at the hairpin. Good traction on the exit, though, for the Sauber as he flies. Oh, too much inside curve there for Craggy.
Don't hit the wall.
He's lost the car.
Oh, he's good. He's good. Ah.
And that right there, Jess, is obviously the test and what turn 7 and 8 is all about. Because you take too much of that inside curve through turn 7, it can unsettle your car. If you don't have the right line on the braking method for turn number 8, you can very easily lose the back end, and the back end just overtake you going up the hill with the elevation change.
I did say turn 8 was a problematic corner, and that's what Craigie did, which is very unfortunate because I was looking at a very tidy lap in sector 1. Let's see if Arnold could do any better. He's invalidated. Ooh. The curses are coming. I am so sorry, Craigie and Arnold. We're saying that you're doing good, and suddenly you invalidate or bid it. Let's hope it's not the same for Jaco as he makes his way through turn 8 now. Come on, take the perfect line. Oh no, beats one as well. Well, I think we should just shut up at this point, Mike.
Potentially, but we're gonna continue on because there's more action to talk on at this moment. There's Casper. I think the next man coming through to take on the turn 8 gauntlet that I think is we're going to be calling it from now on.
Turn 8 curse.
Yep, the turn 8 curse. Will Casper be able to make it through as he comes through turn number 7 right now? Breaking down in towards turn number 8, climbing up the hill.
Nice.
Nicely done there from the Haas man as he comes through turn number 9 in towards turn number 10 and 11. What is the middle sector split going to be saying for him? And he's up by just under a 10th. 88 thousandths of a second up actually as it currently stands for Casper coming through turn number 13 and 14 now. Needs to get a good run here because anything he can pick up through turn 14 will be just carried on through turns 15 all the way to the start finish line. Let's see what this is going to be for Casper. To the line he'll come. It's an improvement, but only 5 thousandths of a second.
Not quite enough for pole position, and now it's time to put the foot to the floor and really get your laps in to finish off this one. We got both the Red Bulls finishing their runs. Leroy slots himself into P14. What can Arnold do? Only 5th fastest. Cashman slots himself into P4. He proves in time and not position. And Tony, he's opened up so much, and he's pretty much increased the gap to Casper. P1 for Tony once more. Lukey has invalidated. J. Cole is a few hundreds down in the middle sector. Malvin has passed turn 11, and he's actually a few attempts up actually, so he is improving. Is anyone else on a run that we know of? We got Axel on a run. He's a few attempts up. He sorts into P5. Oh, not far off his teammate. Catboy Key in 6th place for Kieran. J. Cole sorts himself into 9th. So it is just Malvin up to the line now. A few steps up. What's it going to be? 16-7, which slots himself into I don't even know. P8. There we go.
Yep, improvements here coming from Malvin Axlock. And it was a marginal improvement by J. Cole in the end. But we'll run you through the qualifying result now. As it was Tony that took pole position with a 15.8, 4.5 tenths ahead of his teammate who joins him on the front row, and that is of course Casper. Lukey there in P3 with Cashman in P4, Axlock in P5 with Catboy Key in P6, Arnold in P7 with Malvin in P8, Wadesy in P9 with J. Cole completing the top 10. Outside the top 10 we have Karaki, Ben, Samster, Leroy, Konzo, Entity going to be starting from the back, and he did all of his laps on the set of the medium. So I think definitely Jess maybe just trying to get some laps on the board here in qualifying for Entity.
Yes, indeed. And there's one thing to point out for Entity as well. He is one of our only drivers this evening that is taking a engine penalty. And the rule is that every driver is meant to take an engine penalty this season, and they must keep an eye on their engine wear. And Entity will have a 10-place grid penalty. And if it was real life, of course, Entity will be starting in the pit lane. But here, obviously, him getting a 10-place grid penalty means nothing, so he'll be starting at the back anyway. So he probably thinks he can climb his way up around this circuit and not using up that much tyres. Hopefully he remembers that there is a lobby restart though, because you will get the soft tyres to use in the race anyway. But yeah, NC will be having taking his engine penalty this evening. Still plenty of drivers still yet to take their engine penalty, but there was plenty of drivers who have taken their engine penalty. Felt like there wasn't much advantage of them taking it here as they would have liked. But yeah, so we'll keep an eye on Entity as he climbed his way through the field last week. We hope to see the same from him this week as well. He got driver of the day as well last week.
Yeah, Entity did incredibly well last week, and of course this week he's going to be starting from the back. He's taking his engine penalty, so he's got that out the way. I mean, as you said, not many people have taken their engine penalty so far, and I think at this stage of the season, of course, round 8, I would have thought we would have seen more people taking their engine penalties right now. But yeah, it's not the case. And honestly, it does kind of... I am a little bit confused. I thought like races like Brazil or Singapore would have been perfect places to take an engine penalty. But these guys seem to know better.
Well, we're the ones in the commentary box in P1, not in the cockpit, so they know better than we do. I think there's about... I think, don't forget, the new drivers need to take their engine penalties too, but I know there's about 9 or 10 drivers that haven't taken their engine penalties yet. And don't forget, there was quite a few DNFs from some people, so I do not have long because it is about 5 races to go until the end of the season. Let me just check the calendar for you. There we go. So we got obviously Portugal coming up this week. Then we got the COTA United States, which falls under the real life calendar as well. A sprint race, just like in real life. Then we got Mexico on the 27th. Then we got a break week after that so people can watch the real life Brazilian Grand Prix. Then we have Silverstone, and then we have Canada. That is not long for them to think about whether they're taking their engine penalty. If they keep DNFing and they haven't taken their engine penalty, then they're going to be in the spot of bottom and they won't have any choices. But if I was joining the league now, or if I still haven't taken my engine penalty, the one I would think about is probably either COTA or Silverstone, because COTA is a sprint race. She'll be starting as from the sprint reverse grid top 10, so I'll be thinking about that. Silverstone is just a great track anyway, and it's a great track to overtake, so I would take it at one of those two. But you'll be brave if you were to take it in Canada in the final race.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone would be looking at Canada as an option. I think, I mean, as you said, COTA, fantastic option. Me personally, I would be looking at either COTA for the sprint race aspect of it, or I'd be looking at Mexico, because that long run down in towards turn number 1, you can definitely gain some positions by starting like towards the back with the slipstream all the way down into turn number 1.
Mexico's a good shout, actually. I didn't really think of Mexico in terms of that. Mexico is a track that I don't get on with, and I know some drivers love it, some drivers hate it. So some people may want to get their engine wear penalty done on their worst tracks, but there may be some people that love the downforce nature of Mexico, want to see if they can overtake as much as they can around Mexico. It is an interesting entity, as it were. Literally, I'm taking it literally. Conzo was already thinking about taking it in COTA, so they're definitely reading our minds there. I'm just trying to see if anyone is thinking about it. Casper thinks there's not been too much advantage, because qualifying has been good for him from his side anyway. Atslot said he needs as much advantage as he get. I know he's taken his engine penalty already. If people choose to do it here, then it means less cars to overtake. That is true. So, yeah, there's some people that have, some people that don't. Not many people have done their pre-race interview, so it's hard to judge on whether they have an advantage or not taking it here.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, what we'll also do as well is obviously go to our sponsors and our partners here at One Hub Racing. Of course, a massive shout out to Next Level Racing, of course, providing over £2,000 worth in prizes here in One Hub Racing. And of course, to our partners and our friends at Pure Sim Gear as well. And of course, to our partner at Vespertrin, and of course, is the Going Guess Tough Award as well with them. And of course, to our partners at at Sim Grid. I was about to say Pure Sim Gear again, but Sim Grid, of course, providing us with the standards of which we use for the standards. And of course, mental health awareness, guys. If you are going through tough times, it is always better to talk it out, so don't be afraid to talk, and of course reach out to loved ones and everything as well.
It was World Mental Health Day on Thursday as well, so pretty much it's not a awareness day. People should be made aware of mental health all year round. So yes, as Mike was saying, if you are struggling at the moment, please go to a charity like Mental Health Foundation, because they're very good. They're very good. There's one other thing that we haven't done, which we usually go through at this time. If it will let me, that is. Shall we go through our lovely standings?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, looking at the standings as it currently is, it is Tony at the top of the board on 98 points, and a very, very close battle in behind him for second right now. Axok currently holding second in the championship on 85 points, 1 point ahead of Casper in third, who is 2 points ahead of Lukey in fourth. A very close battle between them there. And of course, Jaco there in fifth place on 68 points. He's in a little bit of a a little bit of no man's land at the moment. Obviously, he's 11 points ahead of the man in 6th place. That is Callum Unarmed. And of course, we got Nick in 7th on 52 points. Then, of course, Matteo, unfortunately, has left the league on 48. And, of course, Cashman in 9th and ended the completing the top 10 on 41 points. Honestly, looking at the constructors, now that is going to be another interesting battle. Because obviously, in terms of Haas at the moment, they are by far they are clear at the moment at the top in the constructors. The interesting one I think is going to be, Jess, is this battle that is going on between the battle for P3 at the moment, because McLaren's in a little bit of a breathing space in there, 129 points to them in 2nd place. Williams, Aston Martin, Mercedes. That is a very close battle between those 3 constructors for 3rd in the standings as it currently stands. And of course, with Ben, of course, joining in, partner in J. Cole in Alpine, it's going to be interesting to see if Alpine can close the gap on those 4 teams as well.
I'm loving that constructors fight, actually. And of course, with new drivers coming in, that might spice things up a little bit. And we know that some teams are not having their full driver lineup tonight. So Mercedes, it's a good chance for Alpine to close in the gap on Mercedes with both their drivers here. And we only have 1 Mercedes driver here tonight. Aston Martin, we know Waity needs to step it up a little bit, but his internet was playing up tonight, so he might struggle a little bit tonight with that regard. Williams are getting better race after race, especially with Entity picking up the good results. McLaren and Haas, I think those are the ones to watch out for, like I was saying, because they both have 2 drivers that can perform week in and week out. You see that with the amount of points they score each week. Both drivers can score well if the other driver can't. They just got to score consistently with both their drivers each week. So I'm keeping my eye on those 2, but I'm not counting out any of the top 5 just yet. And Alpine could surprise as well. And of course, we also got Sauber that's looking to pick up the pieces. So anything could happen with this constructors as well, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, there's still plenty of races left for the likes of McLaren, Williams, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Alpine to try and close that gap down on Haas. And as you mentioned, we've seen how well the McLaren team work together and how well the Haas team work together. It's all going to be about positioning. Obviously, right now, Haas, they have a strong positioning. Obviously, both of the drivers coming into tonight's race, like, they've been on fine form and are picking up very consistent points. And you can see it and right here tonight. Obviously, qualifying, it's a front row Haas lockout. McLaren, I think for Axlock and Cashman, they just need to get off to a brilliant start and try and get at least one of the cars in between the 2 Haas's so they can start playing that team game. But we're about to head out on this formation lap, Jess. And looking at the tyre selection up and down the grid, is looking quite mixed.
It is looking quite mixed. We've got a mixture of soft runners and medium runners. And I think this is one of those tracks where the softs can last a bit longer. I made it last 9 laps earlier. And yeah, I think it is quite an even split. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers on the softs. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the mediums. And if I was a betting man, probably the soft would have been the better option. But keep an eye on Casper, because the Haas decided to go for a split strategy. So Tony could give some tips for Casper on how to manage those softs. So Casper could do it the other way around. McLaren have gone for the same strategy. I'm looking at the Aston Martin. They've gone for a split strategy as well. Let's go through them quickly before Mike covers the starts. We've got Tony on softs, as well as Cashman, Atslot, Catboy Key, Waitsy, J. Cole, Craggy, Samster, and Entity. Everyone else, which is Casper, Lukey, Arnold, Malvin, Ben, Leroy, and Conte, are on the mediums. But I'm not surprised it's an even split, to be fair, because it's one of those tracks where softs can last comfortably for a good portion of the first stint.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the drivers will now be coming around the final corner to take their grid positions. Of course, we did manage to get a few words with a couple of the drivers now before the race. Of course, asked them about this track. Obviously, some challenging corners and a long straight. How are they feeling going into it? Luki says pace seems okay, but traction is horrible, so slightly nervous. But he's starting in a good position up in P3. And then, of course, Malvin was saying confident enough. So Konzo also saying it's not one of his favourites tonight. We'll just have to get through it and see what happens, especially with a lack of practice. So a couple of drivers coming in that obviously respectful of the track. They know the challenges, but quietly confident as the drivers are now taking their grid positions and about to get underway, Jess.
Here we go then. We've got 33 laps awaiting our drivers, and Tony has taken a different angle to Casper, so he's pointing near Casper, and Casper's pointing near Tony. Now, what I'm expecting for them is going to be very interesting indeed, but over to you, Mr. Mike Edwards.
Yep, so here we go to 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway here in Portugal. A good start there from Tony and Luki, getting off for a fantastic start. Already getting the overtake done on Casper around the outside as we saw Cashman have a little look at the inside. That was a Red Bull going slightly off circuit in the background. That was Arnold and his almost 2x2 like Noah's Ark through turn 3 for plenty of drivers here. Too many to mention. But I think I did see a little bit of contact and potentially a bit of front wing flying off through turn number 3 and 4. So we have to keep an eye out for that, Jess. But right now, J. Cole side by side with Wadesy coming through turn number 5. Looks like Wadesy's just about going to have that. But J. Cole's going to try and hang it around the outside through turn 7. And he's going to stay around the outside through turn 8. Needs to make sure that he does not lose the traction because Craggy is there. And he's going to try and take advantage of this. Side by side up the hill in towards turn number 10. Craggy's going to look down the inside of Wadesy as well, but backs out of that one smartly. J. Cole gets better traction on the exit. And everything is staying as is, but J. Cole sends it down the inside on Craggy again. They are still side by side, these two. A fantastic battle through the middle and the final sector between J. Cole and Craggy. What a start we've just seen here, Jess.
It's one of those tracks where you can go side by side like that. Well done to these two, and they're still doing it. And Tony, by the way, is pulling a gap to 1.3 seconds. He is on a mad one, by the way. But Craggy is still looking to gain as much as he can on J. Cole ASAP. But J. Cole is already pushing like a mad one, so that is going to be interesting indeed. Bearing in mind, by the way, the host does get an advantage in lobbies for some reason in starts. Not as much if all motivation lap is turned off. There's meant to be a patch tomorrow that hopefully fixes that, but Luki had a good start anyway. I'm not sure if it's host advantage or not, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Stamster, by the way, down the inside of Malvin in towards Torre Vip. Nicely done from the Ferrari driver. On those softs up to 11. I mean, I think it's crucial, Mike, that the ones on the softs get past those medium runners as soon as they can. And that's why I'm keeping my eye on both McLarens to see if they could do that.
Yeah, and of course this is going to be massive for both McLaren drivers, being able to have DRS now down this long straight. All they need is a good run out of the final corner and they can be immediately on the back of Casper, who will of course also have DRS on Luki. So Luki could end up in a position now where he goes from P2 all the way down to P5. But let's see what they're going to do coming out of the final corner. Luki under pressure here as we're about to begin lap number 3. Tony breezing away as you would expect on those soft tyres and the pace that he has. Here goes Casper, gets through. And is Cashman going to be close enough? No, Cashman won't be close enough, but he has so much more grip through turn number 1. He could have a look in towards turn number 3. No, thinks better of it, does the man in the papaya orange car. And he is going to sit in behind Luki for the time being. And honestly, if I was Cashman there, I probably would have had a little look down the inside.
I think he almost did it through Torre Vip there, but think better of it. He wanted to play it smart with his ERS usage, but Luki is fighting because he doesn't want to let Jake pass. Jake tries to go around the outside and towards turn A. A bit of a squiggle from both drivers, which would have allowed, I think, Axelot to try and go for it. But brilliant attack from Cashman. He's up into 3rd place on the podium, and now he sets his sights on Casper on those mediums. But those softs won't last for long, so he's got to get a move on, Mike Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to get a move on ASAP because you can see the grip advantage that Tony's had on the medium runners in behind. And I think this was a blessing for Tony that Lukey and Casper were both on the set of the mediums, because he's just been able to breeze away at the front. 3.5 second lead for Tony as we are on lap number 4.
It's Axelot.
And here comes Cashman and Axelot, as Axelot gets through on Lukey. Cashman gets through on Casper. It's a double McLaren overtake down in towards turn number 1, Jess.
I think the McLarens are doing really well on those soft tyres. We said they need to do well on those softs, and they proved us right there. They really did. So great job on them. Cracky, by the way, down the inside of Arnold, up into 7th. Oh, almost a bit of contact there. Bloody hell. A
little bit of contact on the exit with Catboy Key, but Arnold fortunately does not spin around. And I mean, that was a... I think, obviously, he was trying to go back down the inside of Cracky. I think he's just underestimated his braking point, and there's almost careered straight into the rear of Catboy Key there. But fortunately, nothing major coming out of it. But he has lost not only the spot back to Cracky, but also to J. Cole as well. So all his hard work is just been undone. Oh, he's trying to get down the inside of J. Cole. No.
Oh. That is not good. I think we've seen a few mistakes from quite a lot of the midfield, just trying to make their way past, but not leaving enough room. But they got to be on the attack, really, because the ones on the mediums, they got to be patient, because they know it will come back to them eventually. Wait, he's in, so I wonder if he's got a damage or if he's for that early undercut. Casper, by the way, overtakes Jake, and Axelot overtakes his teammate as well. So Casper up into 2nd. I wasn't expecting the soft to fly off that much, but I wonder if Jake is struggling just a little bit on the traction. We'll keep an eye on Lukey and the other drivers to see if it's just maybe a setup problem, but we don't know. But Axelot doing very well around this circuit. I said to keep an eye on him, and he's definitely not disappointing.
Absolutely not. He's not disappointing. I think at the moment is still marginally in favour of the soft tyres, but obviously lap 5 of 33, we're going to start to see the mediums start to come into play, and that gap between Casper and Tony, this is the gap where we're going to see whether or not the mediums have gone off, the softs have gone off to the mediums, and if the mediums are the better tyre. Right now it seems that Tony does have the pace on the softs to continue to pull away, so the softs are still a better tyre. I just think that Cashman might have just made one too many mistakes on that lap and was unable to break Casper out of DRS.
Yeah, exactly, and I think Axelot could challenge once more, and we've seen with loads of other tracks around it, if you're out of the DRS, you're going to lose so much more time, so it's crucial that you stay in it, and that's what Axelot is trying to do. Axelot down the right hand side in towards turn number 1. Nice overtake there, and he's now up into 2nd place. And Tony must be loving this, because the more that these guys keep fighting, the more Tony is able to increase those gaps on the soft tyres. So Casper's got to pretty much go on the charge and go on the attack. But look at how Cashman is attacking right now. He's going to go around the outside in towards Torre Vip. He's going to try and follow his teammate through, but he's made a bit of a mistake coming out of the exit in towards turn number 6, but he just about keeps hold of P3 from Casper. That was very close as they now make their way towards turn number 8, Mike.
Yeah, and in behind them as well, you had Catboy Key getting the move done on Lukey, so up in the P5 goes the Williams man, as he's now going to try to go into the back of Casper. Of course, the soft tyres still the better tyre to be on, and I think right now, if you're Garageman and Axelot, you have to work together to try and make sure that not only that Casper does not get through, but to make sure that Catboy Key does not put these two under pressure, because ideally what they're going to want is to pull away from Casper. They're going to want Casper to battle with Catboy Key here, but Casper, brilliant run at the final corner. He's already alongside Cashman before DRS is even open, and he is already flown past, and he'll go back up in the P2, and is that Cashman back down the inside? Oh, he almost goes into the back there of Casper.
Thanks, Catboy Key.
Oh, Catboy Key.
He was going to try and get a move past Axelot in towards turn 3 and now into towards turn number 4, and he got the job done. Lukey's found some entry speed through turn 5 as well. The power of the toe is absolutely crazy. Here comes Lukey around the outside. Nope, he's not going to go for it just yet. I think he's got to play it safe, otherwise there would be a bit of contact with Axelot, and we know how those two go in terms of battling. They battle very well, and we don't want any nasty debriefs at the end. Oh, one of the Red Bulls has gone off. That's Arnold. He's had a bit of a spin.
Heartbreak there for Arnold, and I'm just going to say this now, Jess. I'm looking at that gap between Casper and Tony. It's not going up massively anymore. It's stayed around 6.3 throughout the entirety of that middle sector, where you would expect the soft tyres to really be able to gain a big amount of that through the middle sector. So I think we're at that crossover point right now with the softs and the medium tyres.
Yeah, I think so. I hate to admit it, but if you're on the softs, watch out for those medium runners. But quite a few of the medium runners are near the back anyway. But here comes Jake on Casper and then Lukey on Craggy. So 2 of those moves being made in the space of 1 sector. Cashman up into 2nd place at the moment. And Lukey doing well on those mediums. I said to Lukey, be patient. And he's definitely being patient right now. And his next target is Axelot and Kieran through turn number 5. J. Cole. Oh, that was a late send from J. Cole, and Craggy almost got the job done, but J. Cole was like, nope, see you later, lick the stamp and send it.
Yeah, fantastic day from J. Cole, and trying to make his way up the order on the back of Lukey now. And this is going to be interesting, because I feel like we're not too far away from the likes of Cashman, Tony, Catboy Key and Axlock from making their first pit stop, because at this point there's a spinner in the background. I think that might be Leroy that has gone around as Cashman goes deep in towards turn number 13, and that's definitely going to compromise him coming through turn 14 and of course through 15 as the big old train is going to be underway. And yep, there we go, Cashman's in.
Cashman's in, so he's thinking that the undercut is more powerful then, and so is Samster and Malvin. But the one driver I'm keeping my eye on, he was a few hundredths up on this battle, is Entity. He's already climbed his way through. He started at the back, remember, because he was taking his engine penalty, and he's had a bit of a slide through turn number 2, but he's keeping his calm right now. But yeah, these are ones to keep an eye on this battle, and he's doing a decent job on those soft tyres. And we can see the memes trying to close in quite nicely. Lukey's now around about 5 tenths behind Axelot, so that is going to be interesting. And now, we said a lap ago that the gap saw about remain stable. Tony has gained a second on Casper alone in the past lap.
Yeah, but you can see in this middle sector, Casper is gaining back on Tony. Obviously not to the same extent that he lost that time, but that could be put down to battling. And you're seeing in the middle sector, the gap has been closed down a bit. And I think the mediums are slightly better now. Because obviously you got to remember as well, Tony incredibly quick as well. He, obviously his tyres, they are going to be feeling it. And he's into the pits right now, as I would have expected. And he has to make sure that he covers off everyone in behind going for the undercut. As here goes Axlock in as well. Entity gets through as was that Cracky with a I'm sorry, yeah, Cracky with a 10-second time penalty, trying to do a sneaky little overtake on J. Cole coming into the pit lane. Hasn't worked out for him. 10-second penalty applied now to Cracky.
I think that's what we're going to keep an eye on. This is one of the tracks where it's so easy to get 10 seconds. Of course, Silverstone being another one of those tracks, Mexico too, and I would argue Cota, but Cota, it's easy for your car to slow down, but Portugal is so hard to find the pit entry, and you just got to slow down really quickly. Monza being one of those other tracks as well, where we were earlier on in the season, so I think this is not going to be the first one, as we're seeing our first 3-second time penalty of the session. And that was Arnold near the back. Both of the Red Bulls not doing as well. As we can see, Craggy and Malvin having a little bit of a battle for Torre Vip. And Craggy just about keeps ahead of Malvin. Malvin, interestingly, has gone on the soft tyres. So I can't remember what tyre he started on. But he wants to get his softs out of the way early. And I'm very shocked about that.
Yeah, I mean, he pitted very early off a set of mediums onto a set of softs, so...
Medium, soft,
I'm
medium?
not entirely sure. Potentially, but he's going to have to take these softs through, I'm going to say around lap 19, lap 20.
It could last 15, 16 laps at a push.
Yeah, but you'd be stretching out those softs a little bit too much at that point.
No, I mean the mediums at the end.
Oh, the mediums at the end, okay. But yeah, obviously to get the most out of the tyres, so I mean, he is going to have to stretch the sauce out just a little bit though. And that's going to hurt him in the grand scheme of things later on, as Craggy's fallen down the order a little bit. Not sure what's going on there for Craggy. I think he just got overtaken by both Samsa and Marvin with DRS, and Samsa has been quietly going about his race, but he's in a good position at the moment as well.
Yeah, he is. Samsa's been one of those drivers that's fallen under the radar. We've seen him mainly in the top 11, top 12, but he hasn't gained as much positions as we would have liked. But this is a good track for him, I feel. I don't think he's raced here at all in One Hub Racing since his return, and he's doing pretty decently. And don't forget, the top 12 in One Hub Racing score points, and he seems to be enjoying this battle with Marvin and Craggy right now.
Well, just looking at potentially where he could be placed. Obviously, this is going to be crucial information as Catboy Key into the pits from P2 in this race. So let's see where he'll come out relative to Noni, Cashman and Axlock, but also to Samsa, Marvin and Karagi as well. As it's another set of the soft compound tyres on Catboy Key's car. So he's going soft, soft, potentially soft, soft, medium.
Now that is interesting for Kieran as well. So he's another one doing a similar strategy, going on mediums at the end. As we can see, it's going to be quite close coming out of the pit as Marvin and Craggy having a nice movement towards turn number 2 and 3. Craggy needs to hold his line, but we can see Marvin trying to go around the outside, do a cheeky overtake, which worked. That was beautiful. But we can see, oh, it's going to be free wided towards Torovic. It may not work out, so one of them's got to back off. Marvin goes around the outside. There's a bit of a love tap between Craggy and Sam still on the exit.
Ooh, I've just noticed Craggy's missing the front left end plate.
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. That's why he's been dropping down the order.
I wonder where he's picked that up to then. Craggy with wing damage. He's a wounded Sauber out there on track right now.
Maybe you could check Race Director later on and see maybe if he made contact with someone, we might have got a warning.
I think potentially he could have made contact with J. Cole coming into the pit lane.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that was it. That could have been the issue. But by the way, we're having 2 more drivers come in. I think one of the first of the medium runners. Ben Harriet comes in. Entity comes in. Ben goes on the soft tyre. So another one doing this the soft in the middle stick. Now that's going to be interesting. Whereas Entity goes on the mediums. I'm keeping my eye on those two to see the differing strategies. As Cashman gets past Leroy, who's been on those mediums, for 12 laps. The hards are definitely not the best option around here. Cashman up into 4th place, but he's already 8 seconds behind Tony. And Casper just minding his own business, trying to stretch on those mediums for as long as he can do double softs. But we got Kieran and Leroy trying to go for a ding-dong battle on Axelot. Axelot just defending for his life at the moment. Leroy's not giving up, isn't he? I know he's been on those tyres for 12 laps, but he's trying to have a bit of fun on this race, so trying to get past Waity.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely being a bit of a roadblock for these guys on the fresher tyres, and he has every single right to back to fight and try to battle for position. Obviously, for the likes of Cashman, Axlock and Catboy Key, they're not going to be particularly happy, but they'll understand why he is fighting, because you never know a safety car could come through as Axlock and Catboy Key side by side through turn 14. And Catboy Key on the soft tyres makes it work, gets the job done as Casper and Lukey are into the pit, so Tony retakes the race lead. And it's going to be interesting now. They've gone long on those mediums. Where are they going to come out to relative to everyone they were competing with? As it looks like Casper has actually come back out in P2, so he's done an incredible job on the mediums.
Yeah, he has. But I'm just trying to think if that was the order before they came into the pit lane. I'm not entirely sure before the first few drivers came in, but Casper stretched out those mediums for so long. I wonder how long he's got to stretch those soft tyres. We know how long he stretched those mediums. Maybe he could do a double soft. Maybe that could work for him. So the battle for the win may not be over yet.
Now this is where Tony's going to want to hope that Casper can pull away from Cashman, because the last thing that Tony wants is Casper closing on those soft tyres and bringing the 2 McLarens along for the ride. So Tony, well, actually, there we go. As Cashman is dropped just outside that 1 second window, so it looks like there we go. The question's already been answered. If Casper is able to pull away, he's already done. He's already done it.
Yeah, and we know how long those softs lasted earlier, so it's about maintaining that pace and not over pushing it too early on, and then you'll be able to keep ahead of your nearest rivals. And the ones on the mediums, they're going to hope the softs fall off the edge of a cliff very, very soon. And Kieran is one of those drivers. Oh, that was very tight for Kieran there. That could have been curtains. But luckily, no contact from any of those three drivers that are battling. There was a bit of contact there on the exit. But Kieran is trying to make his way through the McLaren drivers. Here's the first one. Kieran versus Jake. Here he comes through turn number 5. That was definitely almost contact there. But I think the McLarens are definitely a roadblock to Kieran, and they're doing a really good job to try and block the guys behind.
Yeah, and the thing is, in behind them right now is obviously Lukey and Waitsy. Waitsy in this train as well. So Waitsy also has already made the pit stop. He came in very early off his set of soft tyres.
Yeah, damage.
And he's in this battle as well, which is fantastic for him.
And there is a difference between, obviously, fresher mediums and older mediums, so he's going to hope that the likes of Craggy and Samster don't catch up to them anytime soon. And we know that Waitsy could go on to a set of the mediums again later on, so they're pretty much on the similar timing of the strategy, like with Lukey, because Lukey's also going for double soft. I know he said to me he was going to go for double soft earlier on. And Lukey and Kieran and Axelot and Jake all going for it in turn number 1.
Oh, contact! Lukey's around. Contact there with, I believe that was Lukey and Cashman through turn 2 right there, coming together. A little bit of wheel to side pod contact, and that was enough to put Lukey into a half spin and dropping down now to P7. Not ideal for Lukey, but he'll be thankful that it wasn't a complete 360 spin right there. And it doesn't look like he's got wing damage as well, so I think he might have just got away with one.
I think he was lucky that he didn't go out of this race and he was able to catch that. And it's so much easier to catch spins, Mike, on this game compared to F1 23. So if it was on the last game, he definitely would have been out.
I mean, I can't talk about anything about spinning. I am dubbed Ivor Spin Mike for a reason.
You're Ivor DNF Mike as well. You keep DNFing like far too many times. But anyway, on that bombshell, lap 17 of 33, Tony leads Casper by 8.9 seconds. And as he heads towards turn number 1, now it's 9 seconds. Here comes the McLaren machine versus the Williams machine and the Aston Martin. We know Kieran's going to try and go for it once again. So is Axelot. Meanwhile, the two Aston Martins are fighting again. Lukey's still in this train, by the way. So he didn't lose that much time. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What's called? He was able to catch the half spin. Obviously, a decent area in the circuit where he could get onto the back of these guys pretty quickly. Obviously, on the set of the soft tyres, he has the grip against the mediums. So he was able to get himself onto the end of this train also as well. Waitsy being his teammate and at the back of this train, able to just give him the nod, give him that seal of teamwork and camaraderie there as he moves over. That's Lukey through, and Lukey's back on the attack again. Right now though, I'm confused by what's going on with the McLaren pain, because right now I feel like Axelot is much more comfortable on this circuit than Cashman, but Cashman is the lead car.
I wonder, is it team orders, is it papaya rules, or is it actually that Axelot might not be comfortable in overtaking his teammate, or he doesn't want to have that comfortable conversation with his teammate afterwards? But because of that, the ones on the soft behind, they're going to take advantage of this, and Kieran's going to do the same. He's going to go right on the middle of them. Oh, that could have been curtains for all three of them.
Yeah, that absolutely could have. He trying to squeeze his way through the middle, and it was like he tried to squeeze his way through the middle, but the walls were being closed, and he does a nice weave there on the straights. He wasn't happy with that at all.
Nope.
Actually feeling like he had the right to be there, and both of McLaren's just closed the door on him, but Kappa-Key definitely now going to have a fire going on in the cockpit of that car, because he is now going to be all fired up to try and get these overtakes done on these two now.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting battle that's going to be happening throughout the entirety of this race now. An interesting rivalry, I would say, between the McLarens and the Williams drivers. So something to keep an eye on in the rivalries next week, maybe, in USA. Don't forget, of course, it will be a sprint race. I think this is the interesting battle we're seeing right now. And look at this. All of this is allowing Craggy into this as well. And Samster, that big train is the consequence of them guys having a bit of a squabble. So here we go then. Here's Kieran once more. He's playing it safe for now. Konzo's doing his second stop. I'm guessing he's going on mediums. Malvin doing the same. If there's a safety car, they'll be screwed, by the way. But at least he gets their 2 stops out of the way so they don't have to worry about it again. But Futoy now. Oh, there's not much space there, but he's going to try and go for it anyway. Bit of contact. Jake taking advantage. And Kieran's not left that much space, but Cajman stays in 3rd place. Atzlop dropped down to 5th. Kieran trying to take advantage there. If I was Lukey, I would be hoping that there's something bad happening in front of me.
I mean, both of the Aston Martins are going to be sitting back looking at this thinking something's about to happen up here now, because these guys are getting very close to each other. We're seeing obviously a lot of squeezing going on into the apex as Axlock down the inside of Kappa-Key and unable to get that move done. Honestly, Lukey and Waitsy are just going to be sat there licking their lips, eyes as wide as dinner plates, ready for something to happen between these guys as we're about to begin lap 20 as Axlock side by side, and he's being squeezed over to the wall. But look at that, Cashman trying to get the toe to his teammate. As you got Lukey, it's going to be free wide in towards turn number 1. Free wide around the outside. Lukey, is he going to be able to pull this off? And I think that was Kappa-Key going slow, and has he got damage? It doesn't look like it. I think he taps the back end of Craggy there. Samster gets the overtake done on Craggy. He's on the back of Kappa-Key now. Samster up into P6. Job done there as Kappa-Key going to try and outbreak and go on the outside. Casper, 3-second penalty for corner cutting. But right now he has an 8.8 second lead over Cashman. So
he should be fine.
He's going to be quite comfortable right now.
He should be fine, but he doesn't want Cashman to close up on him when they go on the soft later. So that's going to be a different strategy there. I'm just loving this fight. People say to me, why is Portman one of your favourite tracks to commentate on? Because there's battles going on all over the place, and you're seeing battles near the front, battles near the back, and they're just non-stop, and they're just very brave going through and going past corners that you do not expect and going for moves that you do not expect to. That is why I like Portugal, and you're seeing people going for different strategies. Jake is going saying, I'm having none of this, and it's coming in. Lukey is trying to get past Axlock now with Axlock having no advantage with his teammate in, and Lukey's now up into 3rd. So could Lukey get another podium despite that spin? Well, we'll have to wait and see, shall we?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting now. Obviously, 7 laps on those soft compound tyres. It's going to be interesting now to see if Lukey has enough life in those tyres to try and break that 1 second gap. And also, one thing to keep in mind as well, lap 21 of 33. Lukey's pace versus Casper. Does Lukey have the pace to close in Casper? With that 3-second time penalty as well, it's 6.6 seconds. If he gets his pit stop strategy spot on, gets a nice undercut on Casper, then it could work out for Lukey. Who knows?
You never know. When he said that he loves those soft tyres and he can make it last for quite a long time. If he could make it last 10 laps, he could do another soft stint comfortably. And I think I'm keeping my eye on Casper to do exactly the same thing. So they're both on the same strategy right now, and they're both going to be. It's a variety of different strategies here. Whereas Cashman is like, I don't think those softs are going to last. I'm going to go on memes to the end. Same with Kieran. Oh, fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm loving these different strategies.
Yeah, and also as well, I want to point out, Waitsy was able to get the undercut on Cashman. Remember, he made his first pit stop at lap 5. We believe he had wing damage as well, so repaired his front wing. And he is in this battle for a net podium position. Is Waitsy at this moment in time?
Don't jinx it now.
Absolutely not. We're just highlighting the brilliant drive that he's done so far. He does have Cashman all over the back of him though, so we'll keep an eye on that. And if those two battle, it's going to affect how good the undercut is versus the likes of Lukey and Axlock here.
Yeah, the undercut is probably going to be the most powerful thing if they could get it right. But we have seen in some instances the overcut work, and it does depend on your pace. So Waitsy's just got to keep the likes of Cashman and Catboy Key behind him. Waitsy's one of those drivers who likes his track anyway, so I'm not surprised for him to climb his way up like that and defend for his life. So brilliant job from him. So who hasn't done their stops yet? So it's just our top 9 who hasn't made their 2 stops. Leroy hasn't made their 2 stop either. Everyone else has done their 2 stops and they can get until the end of the race. Here comes, I think, J. Cole on Entity. There he goes, up into 6th place. Ben Howard, by the way, has just made his final stop.
Yeah, Ben into the pits, his final pit stop of the evening. And I just want to point out as well, Jess, obviously something that, is very nice to see at the moment. The top 4 in the race, the top 4 in the championship.
Yes, it is. That is correct. Not in the same order, though, because that slot is 2nd in the championship. But I think it will be that order by the end. I think it will be that order if it stays like this, yes, because Axlot and Casper were 1 point going into tonight, I believe. And now Casper's going to be P2 in the standings after tonight, if he can keep this up.
Yeah, and obviously leading the way in the constructors, and of course McLaren in the 2nd place in the constructors, and then of course Aston Martin in 3rd. So you look at the top 3 constructors right now, and it's the same order again. Actually, sorry, no, Williams are 3rd in the constructors. I do apologise, but I think Aston Martin on the verge of jumping up into 3rd. So as we got Axlock and Lukey both into the pit lane at the same time, going to try to go for the undercut in the top 2.
Yeah, I think we're seeing most people getting their pit stops out of the way now. But if the safety car comes in, which I don't think is going to happen with how clean this race has been, it will come back to bite them. But Tony is hoping, I think, that the safety car does not come out, because I think people would close up like that. So Waitsy and Cashman increasing their gaps to 6 and 7 now. Kieran and Samson jump up. Samson's undercut has worked very well as he's ahead of Axelot. Now that is a drive I wasn't expecting to fight for decent positions. He's the one who's flown under the radar this season and could be on for one of his best finishes in one hub for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam's doing a fantastic job right now, and I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, in the first round of pit stops, the undercut didn't really work out massively well for these guys versus the likes of Casper. But I have a feeling that the undercut didn't work too well because of how ferociously they were battling.
Yes.
Waitsy and Cashman, they wasn't really battling too much now. They were keeping it very cool, calm, respectful.
They had clear air in front, whereas everyone else was having a car in front of them, and they were trying to attack as Entity comes in.
Yeah, so I mean that's showing the undercut is powerful around you, and
if you don't have traffic
now. Yeah, if you don't have traffic and you're not ferociously battling. As
we're seeing, I think only a few drivers yet to make their 2nd stops now, as Sam's setting the fast lap of the race on those softs. Softs can get to the end from here quite comfortably. So if you're not on the, if you haven't pitted, you can come in onto a set of the soft tires. I think the majority of drivers have done 2 softs and can manage it well. So good job on them, and they could do it. If I was Tony, I would be thinking with your teammate Casper, thinking what should you do? Maybe it doesn't matter because you're going to be protecting that one too. I think it doesn't matter if any of those 2 pit when they can, because the gap between Casper and Craggy is too much. The gap between Casper and waiting Cashman is too much as well. So it's not going to affect too much if any of them decide to pit now. Casper's in, unsurprisingly. Those softs lasted 11 laps and they managed it well.
Yeah, no, he's just jumped on board with Cashman. He clips a curb and almost loses his car there. So scrubbing off a little bit in time unnecessary was Cashman. And we're going to see just how much they close in the gap on Casper. Remember, it was over 10 seconds. And I think Casper, he's going to come out obviously still in a net P2 in his race, but P3 on track at the moment. But how much did they close that gap down? 7.9 seconds, obviously with that 3 second as well. I mean, I think Casper will be fine. Casper will be fine. The sauce will give him enough grip and he can pull back away and John will be interesting.
As long as he doesn't get enough penalties, as long as he doesn't get any more penalties, he should be fine.
I think even if he gets another one, he'll be fine. To be honest, I think even if he picked up 6 seconds of time penalties, he should be fine. Tony into the pits now, and this
he'll
is
still come out in the lead.
Yeah.
Let me check the pit lane loss time around there. It'll probably be too late for me to check because they would have come out of the pits by the time I did that. Pit lane loss 23.5 seconds.
Yeah, as Tony just leaving the pit lane right now, and he will come out just ahead of Craggy, so indicating and that's Cashman around. Cashman's around.
No! Did he make contact with someone or did he just lose it by himself?
I'm not too sure, but he lost 2 seconds. Lukey getting the job done on Samster, and all of a sudden, Aston Martin up in the net P3, P4 position right now.
They must be loving life at the moment. I don't think they will be expecting this right now. They just they got to work together now to keep the guys behind, because that's what McLaren did, and they did it okay, but the Haas drivers are doing the same, and they're doing miraculously better, as we've got Catboy Key and Samster. Samster keeping the inside line, and that's working well. Samster, another driver, doing well. Oh my goodness, Mike, it's going to be hard to decide who we think should get driver of the day at this rate.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult. Obviously, a lot of drivers that are up there battling for good points right now. Obviously, Samster looking to put some big points on the board, not only for himself in the standings, but also for Ferrari as well. Remember, they came in tonight, 28 points accumulated over the course of the season. And Samster doing a fantastic job. Obviously, Conzo down there in P14, he's going to be giving all support and all motivation to his teammate, that is for sure. It looked like Entity was on the rise at one point, but he's down in 13th place. Of course, a few penalties in front of him, so he might be able to jump up ahead of Ben. But it's going to be interesting, Jess. It's really going to be interesting. There's Axel down the inside of Catboy
my
Key.
goodness!
Catboy Key is going to go a little bit off track, but he's going to try and hold it around the outside.
That was a half spin from, I think, one of the McLarens. They're definitely going a bit argy-bargy right now as they head towards the end of this race.
Yeah, they are continuing their battle from the middle stint, that is for sure. Catboy Key, of course, going to be defending the same as he believes that the McLarens were defending against him earlier, where he was getting squeezed to the inside, and I think it is going to be elbows out to the absolute fullest between these three drivers.
Yeah, they're definitely getting their elbows. Sorry, they're definitely getting their elbows out tonight. That's for sure. Those three battles, they've definitely been the most entertaining, I have to say. Going into this middle stint, and now for the final stint, it's going to last for quite a bit. And I don't think there's going to be any more safety cars. So it's literally going to be a sprint to the finish.
Speaking of someone who is out there right now, hoping and praying for a safety car, is the only man yet to make his second pit stop, and that is Craggy. And he's definitely going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap, because if the safety car does not come out this lap, it's probably not coming out at all.
No. But fair play for him trying to stay out, but it just shows that the memes can last a bit longer, but we know that the people are going to be closing up, like Casper. So he's got to get a job done. Or maybe I'm just checking the gap. Where would he come out? He would come out. So
he's got a 10-second time penalty as well.
Oh yes, he's got to serve that. So he might just sneak into the points, but it will be a tough ask, I think, for him.
Yeah, I think he'll without the time penalty, I think he would come out around Entity, Ben, Malvin area. But obviously with that time penalty, I think he'll come out around Konzo area, which there's still a possibility if he does pit now for him to go ahead and try and get some points out of this race. But I think the longer he stays out, the less likely points is going to be for Craggy.
Yeah, as Casper's now past Craggy. So there we go. Hopefully Craggy has remembered the 2-stop, because if you don't, instant disqualification as Lukey gets past Waity up into 4th place. And I'm sure I think that must be in a team order there, because Waity did not fight that at all.
Absolutely not. And of course, Lukey, one of the names in the championship battle. Of course, coming in tonight, he was 4th place on 82 points, 2 points behind Casper. Casper will be extending his gap ahead, but obviously he was 3 points ahead of Axlock. Axlock currently in P6 and will be under pressure from Samsa. And J. Cole actually getting the move down on Cashman. I've only just noticed J. Cole coming back into this race pretty late. Remember, he does like a P5, does J. Cole.
Does.
And, do we dare?
I think he's a little bit too further back on Samster and Axlot and Waity to do anything about that, though.
A little bit of battling though, Jess, and he could be right on him.
You never know. As I said at the start of the stream, anything can happen. As Axlot, by the way, is in this fight for P4, as P3 actually, as Craggy's come in to do his stop. Luckily, he has remembered. I think he just wants to go for that cheeky fastest lap point, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what Craggy was trying to do, hope for a safety car, or at least a virtual safety car.
It's Axlot on Waity.
Axlot.
Oh no, Lukey's dropped down 2 places.
Lukey back around the outside. Lukey, is he going to be able to pull this off? A little bit of contact on the exit.
Lukey dropped down 2 places, I swear. Waity was ahead of him.
No, Lukey was ahead. Waity got through with DRS, and then Axlock got through with DRS.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Oh, I was a bit confused then. Bloody hell. Those 4 have been fighting like crazy. Sam's in this as well now. Samsa could be on the podium. Who would have thought?
Yeah, we have 4 drivers right now, Jess, all battling out for that final podium position. 2 drivers, obviously in Axlock and Lukey. Whoever finishes ahead between these 2, they are going to jump up in the championship. Third. They'll be up in the 3rd in the championship. Of course, Casper should be up in the P2, and Tony obviously extending his gap in the lead. But the battle between Lukey and Axlock here is going to be mightily tasty. And when you consider the Cashman's down in P8 right now, this could be a big points haul for Aston Martin and the constructors to close up and try to put the pressure on McLaren in the final couple of races for P2 and the constructors.
I think we were talking about this fight between Aston, McLaren, Mercedes, Williams in there as well. Of course, Williams not doing as well tonight, and that could hinder them in some way. As Kieran and Cashman side by side once more in towards turn number 3. Kieran getting the edge there. Axelot, he's going to try and get past the Waity now in towards turn number 5. A Torre Vip. Ooh. Bit of got. Oh, Waity's ghosted. Oh.
And here goes Lukey around the outside of Axlock now.
Oh, that could have been curtained. Oh, no.
Oh, Waity's left the session.
Oh, why? I think he must be kicking himself right now.
Heartbreak for Waity right there. Absolute heartbreak for him. I have no words.
I have no words. I'm gutted. He was going to be my Driver of the Day nomination.
He might still be mine.
Yeah. If someone can, that would be lovely. But final lap of this race. At least we still got a battle between the podium. as we got, I think, Samster in this as well. Atzot, by the way, gets past Lukey up into third. But I'll let you take this final lap whilst I recover from Waitie's disconnection and my voice.
Yep, no worries. Of course, final lap of the race. Tony leading the way, 7.7 seconds. The gap, 16 seconds. The gap between Casper in P2 and Axlock defending right now for the final spot on the podium, as he's got Lukey all over his rear wing. Samsa right there in P5, looking to take advantage of any opportunity. J. Cole now moving up into P6 as Waitie's Ghost continues to fall down the order. And right now, it is anyone's guess who's going to be taking that final podium position. It looks like Axlock, though. Strong middle sector from him, as Tony is coming around the final corner, and he'll take victory here in Portugal. And it's going to be a Haas 1-2, but who's going to be the final car on the podium? Right now, it looks like Axlock has done just about enough to pull away. Heartbreak for Aston Martin, though, with Waitie's disconnection late into this race. Lukey will come across the line in P4 as Axlock will be the final man on the podium. P3 for the McLaren. Lukey there in P4. Samster P5. J. Cole in P6. Waitie P7. Cashman in P8. Catboy Key in P9. And Entity completing the top 10 with Ben in 11th. Arnold there in 12th. And we're going to see if Craggy's going to be able to get that fastest lap in the end, as Malvin
will get P13 because he...
Yeah, he crossed the line.
Yeah, he crossed the line, so... Has he got fastest lap outside of the top 10? No. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, he does, yeah.
10,
so even though he's finished 13th, or 14th, you get that point. Unless Gonzo could do anything about it. Is Gonzo going to get fastest lap? 18-1, no. So yes, Craggy gets that fastest lap point. Good on him.
Yeah, but I think Craggy will be looking back at what could have been if he didn't pick up that 10-second time penalty. But what a race that was, though, Jess. I mean, an incredible race. Battles up and down the grid all throughout the entirety of that race. And we had a little bit of everything. We had a little bit of drama, you know, some feistiness between the drivers. Elbows were out for that final podium position. And obviously, in terms of, well, we saw a massive heartbreak there for Waitie in the end. But still, is AI crossed the line in P7, so I think he has completed enough of the race.
He did join, I think, on the final lap. He did join the final lap. So, but yeah, as long as you complete 90% of the race, you'll be fine. But I'll let you go through the results.
Yep, so our race winner tonight is Tony, taking the victory from pole position. Massive congratulations to him, with Casper in P2 with the fastest lap of the race overall. Axlock there completing the podium in P3 with Lukey in P4, Samster P5, J. Cole P6, Waitie P7, Cashman in P8 with Catboy Key in P9, and Entity in P10, Ben in 11th, and Arnold picking up that final points paying position in P12. Outside of that, we had Craggy in 13th, Leroy 14th, Konzo 15th, and Malvin in 16th place. But I believe Malvin will move up a few positions. I think he might have actually finished 12th
or 13th. I can't remember, but I'm sure the stewards will look into that.
I will quickly just have... he finished 13th there, so Malvin in 13th. I just rewinded my Elgato.
Yeah, so no matter where he finishes, you should be fine.
Yeah, and of course the fastest lap point outside the top 10 going the way of Craggy in the end. What a race that was, Jess.
I honestly, can you see why I like Portimao? I think quite a lot of people would probably agree with me now that it was one of a really good race and quite close towards the people outside of Tony. Casper moving up into second. Axelot getting the points he needed on Lukey, so he hasn't dropped that much. And Lukey just keeping up with the consistency. And Samster, I would have to say, is a driver that I kept my arm through that race, him showing some strong pace. And I would have to give my drive of the day to Samster because he just kept it clean, avoided the carnage, and he was able to, just because everyone else was squabbling, he was able to keep in that fight. And my question is, it's been a long time coming since you were fighting for the podium. Did you enjoy the action out there today? And are you expecting to carry on this form going into the rest of the season? So that is my driver of the day, and that's my question.
Yeah, of course, Sam set a very worthy driver of the day nominee there. I'm still tempted to give it to Waitsy, you know. I'm still tempted. I know it wasn't his fault that with the disconnection at the end, but he drove absolutely fantastically that race. But I think with that disconnection, there's one man that started this race, did not put a foot wrong at all. And that was the man who took victory, and that was Tony. And Tony's going to get my driver of the day. He's going to get my driver of the day, but Waitsy, you if in the held up, you would have got driver of the day for me. But Tony will get my driver of the day. And what I will ask Tony is, of course, another fantastic race win here in Portugal. Are you now starting to look at the finish line and seeing that championship here in P1? That'll be my question to him, and I'm going to see what he says.
That is a good question. I think Tony just can't afford to bottle this now, and he just didn't put a foot wrong tonight. So as long as he keeps performances like that, Tony could be our P1 champion very, very soon as well. But I'll let you do the last few moments of the stream, Mr. Mike Edwards.
Yeah, of course. And next week, we will be heading to round number 9 of the championship, which will see us head to the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix, a sprint race going to be featured next time out on the 20th of October. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. And of course, once again, a massive thank you to our partners and sponsors here. Of course, Next Level Racing, of course, Pure Sim Gear, to Vespa Twin as well. Apologies, I do have a cat that is literally crawling over my keyboard right now, so apologies if you're hearing anything in the background. Vespa Twin, and of course Sim Grid, and of course mental health awareness. If you do need to talk to someone, make sure you do talk to someone if you are struggling at this moment in time. It is always better to talk. But massive congratulations to Tony on the race win. Guys, we will be back next week for more action here in One Hub Racing. But until then, is goodbye from myself, is goodbye from Jess, and we'll see you in a week's time at the Circuit of the Americas. Goodbye.